My head was on it like this. That kid came in like boom. Felt my head go this way and come back that way.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Bounce Back Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Lucas. I got a special guest with me today. Why don't you introduce yourself to the people? Tell them your name and where you're from, my guy.
Ron Pierre, also known as Bishop, from Cambridge, from the port.
I know they always called you Bishop. Was that a juice thing?
So I lived on Bishop Allen Drive, and back in the day, there was a crew called the Hurricanes.
Okay.
So the Hurricanes were all over Bishop Allen Drive, and back in the day, in Cambridge, they used to, the gangs, you had the Hurricanes, you had the Packers. So now I was the kid, on the second floor, like the kid that was, some outside, probably like stealing bikes and shit like that. I was there 7 until I would say probably like 11.
Okay.
7 to 11. Then I moved to Norfolk after that.
What kind of things were you doing in the street as a young kid? Like you said, you were stealing bikes. What else? Is that just how it started? What else were you getting into? I mean,
typical kid playing outside, playing basketball, stealing bikes, spray painting, just like a little rascal type of shit, you know what I mean? Right. And then I didn't get into like anything like hustling until I was 14.
14. What attracted you to that hustling lifestyle? Now
I remember I was trying out for freshman year in high school.
Okay.
And then my grades were bad. I got like a 48 average or something in Ringe. Oh, and that wasn't cool at all.
Right.
All my boys were like, nah, the older dudes were like, that's not cool. You know what I mean? That's not cool, skipping class and everything.
I was going to say skip because I feel like half of high school is showing up. If you show up and do your homework, you almost guaranteed.
Right.
So you just
I thought I was cool. Yeah, I was skipping class and everything, which was stupid, And then what happened was when it came to tryouts, you had to have a certain percentage to try out basketball.
A GPA or
whatever. A GPA, yeah. And I didn't have that GPA. So I said, fuck it, I can't play ball. All my boys are playing ball. Then I found out the QPs were going for $250. QPs a week were going for $250 at the time. So I was like, and then there was this leather jacket I wanted from Wilson's. It was a Sherlin, I remember.
I wanted that. That's what I got for my birthday one year. I was like, all I want for my birthday is a Sherlin. Yeah, I remember that was popping,
So I ended up, it was a Sherlin, it was a Wilson's at Galleria. I went to the gallery, I was like, damn, I want that. How am I get that? So all my life, I always had a job and I always hustled on the side. So what I did is at 14, I remember I started working at the barber shop, sweeping up hair and everything.
Okay.
And then I would go home after I got my QP, make that money. Then I was able to get the Sherlin. And then what I started doing one day is I was stupid. I spent all my money. I didn't have no money to re-up or nothing like that. So I took, it was this fake green leaf,
was it oregano?
Oregano.
The seasoning?
So I started taking oregano and I started spraying the oregano. I was stupid. I was young. And I remember I sold it to my man, CZ. Yeah. He came back to me. He
wanted the
smoke. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. But I was good, though.
So you were in high school. Did you end up graduating from high school?
Oh, yeah. I graduated. Most of my friends were skipping class all the time. And I was skipping class with them, too. However, but when I was in certain classes, I was doing all my work. I would go home and do all my work. You got to have a certain amount of credits to graduate. I had those credits already in January. So between January and June, I was just taking a bunch of gym classes. I was 18, I was signing myself out. And it was funny because I remember I would sign myself out, go to the block and hustle. And I remember one day my English teacher, he pulled up and get back to class, get back to school. But you just being a kid, but those are the good days.
That's wild.
Cambridge to me have 5 small boroughs. Right. You had the Port, East Cambridge, West Cambridge, the Coast, and North Cambridge. And to me, and I used to all right, the Port's Brooklyn. North Cambridge was Queens. Right. And that's how I used to treat it. And I think every section was different. And you go to North Cambridge looks like a game of GTA. They're stealing motorcycles and cars and everything. I love them. They're wild out there. I have cousins out there. So, and West Cambridge was West Cambridge and the Coast to me is like family oriented, chill. Right. Kumbaya, it's cool.
When did you start getting in trouble with the law? And what for?
It was in a hotel Buckminster in Fenway. at the time, getting hotels was the thing. We just get hotels and just whatever.
Yep.
I could talk about this because this is all documented and we beat the case. So one of my friends had got the hotel and we're all in there, we're smoking, we're whatever. And then long story short, we get a knock on the door and it's the D's. Detective Keeler out of Boston, he was one of the shystiest detectives. He'll plant stuff on you and so forth. But long story short, they came in there and at the time I had something on me,
Yep.
and I forgot that I had it on me because I'm so used to having it on me. They come in, the window is open, threw it out the window. The only way I beat the case is because when I threw it out the window, some college kids that were walking to the 7-Eleven to grab some cigarettes, luckily grabbed it, brought it into the 7-Eleven, bought the cigarettes, came back on the scene,
Wow.
and told the cops, here's what we found. So when I'm talking to him, that's not mine.
Right.
Whoever gave it to you, you got to go deal with that. That's not my fingerprints,
Yep.
So we get locked up. It's 5 of us. We're in holding and we say to each other, I hope this don't make it to the news.
Right.
This was the first time Boston celebrated Bunker Hill Day.
Wow.
We were on the news for 2 days straight. I'm not.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing, because it's just crazy. We ended up beating the case, all 5 of us. I ended up fighting it from the street. Then I went back in again. I caught another one. Caught with that one, the first one in June, and then I caught the second case in December. That was an attempt, right there. And it's just some street stuff where back then I was like 120 pounds soaking wet. I remember giving my money to this kid. The kid said, okay, I'm gonna go take care of whatever needs to be taken care of with this money.
Right.
Then the kid says to me, months go by, he's like, no, I'm just gonna take it from you.
Wow.
Like he's gonna take it from me.
Right. Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh shit, okay.
It's like that.
So now, I do my research, I find out, who's the kid, connected to and everything, because you gotta know what you're doing, just
Yeah, you gotta move smart.
you gotta be smart because you don't know who knows who and stuff like that. So it was very disrespectful towards me. And, you're growing up, you're young, you got an ego, I mean, if it was now, I would have treated it a different way.
Right, but back then, especially you're at that age, you're in the street life. So if you're doing street things like breaking the law, you're selling work, whatever.
Yeah.
Then there's like you got to uphold your name for that too, but now you're not in that life, so obviously you would have to you'd handle it different.
Nah, yeah. Oh, right now I got a gang of lawyers that go after you.
Right.
I don't care about that. I'll just have my lawyers go after you now. But
So anyway,
but yeah, that was unfortunate.
You figured out who it was, and then how did you get it? How did the arrest come from all that?
Yep, I ended up catching the kid. I ended up hitting him twice, and then after that, he was actually telling the whole time, on the stretcher and everything. And I went on a run for a few months, and it was the most stressful time in my life. I was sleeping on couches, sleeping on floors, cold sweats, not knowing when. I can't even talk to my mom. My mom's like, she's stressing the fuck out,
Yeah.
And it when you go through those situations, I don't glorify none of this shit at all. You know what I mean? I'm not a tough guy. I don't glorify none of this shit. You know what I mean? You just got to handle your business. That's it. It affects your family. It affects other people as well too, which is messed up. So that affected my mother. That's my biggest regret. I would have took that back if my mother, just not to see my mom depressed. You know what I'm saying? So
we're selfish when we make these decisions and act the way we act. Because like I said, it's like, oh, I want to protect my name. But what about your mom's feelings, or your mom's, now her life's different because now she got to maybe swing money your way or whatever. Her son's gone. It's impactful regardless. You know what I mean? And we don't think about that. We're young. That's one thing too. You know what I mean? So our brains ain't fully developed.
It was
we're
fucked
making
up.
Choices.
I ended up getting caught. I ended up turning myself in actually on April, like a months later on from
December.
December.
You have both these cases going on?
No, I got both of them going on.
Okay, you turned yourself in.
I'm stressed out.
They hold you?
They hold me.
Where at?
I was in Cambridge.
Cambridge jail?
Yeah, I was in Cambridge for a few months. Then they shipped me to Plymouth.
I did that.
I remember.
To Plymouth.
Yep. And then I wanted to stay in Plymouth. That was the weirdest thing. Everybody's like, "Bro, you're crazy." I made friends. We were cool. You know, from Plymouth, they shipped me back to Cambridge now. So I'm back to Cambridge. I'm with all my homies. I got in there. I'm like, oh, yo, what we cooking tonight? What's good? I ain't gonna lie to you. To me, jail was the most peacefulest place in my life and my time. I've been everywhere in the world. I found the most peace in jail. I ain't even gonna lie to you. It's like the darkest places you find peace. And I had all my friends. It was like to me, it was like,
I call it sometimes just a Ringe reunion.
Yeah.
Almost sometimes, you know, I see so many dudes from high school, man. I mean, unfortunately, you know what I mean? But especially Middlesex County, a lot of Lowell. But other than that, I felt like when I was up there, there was a lot of Cambridge guys and dudes I went to high school with. And it was kind of, if you're going to be in a bad predicament like that, it makes it a little better. Not to glorify nothing. Trust me, if you're there with all 6 of your homies and you ask all 6 of them to go home the next day, they'll be like, dude.
My man Skiz said the best thing. My man Skiz said, we're not locked up. They're locked out. When he said that to me, it kind of fucked me up. And I'm like, all right. So I'm going to treat this place like a rehab. And it was like Law 25, 48 laws of power, recreate yourself. So I'm like, I'm going to take this time to come out even better.
Right.
You know what I mean? So while being in there fighting both of those cases, I ended up writing a letter to the DA for the shooting case, for my case. I said, I did it. I'm willing to take the time, whatever you're willing to give me. I'll take the plea. Let's work on some numbers right now. So we went back for weeks working on numbers. She gave me 5 at first. I told her, nah. Then she gave me 4. Then I said, nah. Then she gave me 3.5. So I said, okay. I signed up for 3.5. I go to plea for the 3.5. The judge at the time felt bad for me. And he was like, nah, I'm not gonna give you 3.5. I'm gonna give you 3 in a day. And for people that don't know what that means, it means that you can get good time and time off on 3 in a day, 4 in a day, whatever in a day you can get time off. So I was able to do only 2 years and 10 months. So while I'm doing that time, I still got the other case with my 5 codees going on. So I had like 11, 12 points, and you had to be 6 points, I think, to go to the minimum.
All right, so you get sentenced, just the one case. You go to Concord?
I go to Concord.
Tell me about Concord.
Like,
you go from county to state. A lot of time, that's a big jump, and we make it out to be a lot more in our heads, but still, it's popping there.
So here's the first day I got to Concord. I knew a couple of people. The first day I got to Concord, I see some dudes, some Spanish dudes, running after each other, just stabbing each other in the back.
The first day?
The first day. And I'm like, yo, this shit is crazy, right? So I'm like, I'm minding my business, whatever. But here's the thing about jail, right? You can mind your business, but if you roll with some people or you friends with some people and they got a situation, they're not there, you inheriting that. You have to inherit that. You got to take it. You got to take it. So I learned that lesson when I was like 120 pounds, soaking wet, small.
I was going to say, so when did you start the workout? Because you had brought up 48 laws, transformation. You got the 7-step guide to body transformation, but I take it started in the mind first.
It started in the mind. It started in the mind.
Or did it start with the body and then it started to trickle to the mind?
So growing up, I didn't have a father, and I always to look at other guys as a role model, people I wanted to be like, emulate, right? And I looked for that because I never had a father who taught me how to fight, told me this is what you need to do. So the older guys around my way were the guys I wanted to be like. So it went from being like the older guys, then it went from being like, okay, the stars, the celebrity. I wanted to be just like them. So it was 50 cents. So 50. So I grew up like everything before 50's, like I was on 50, like power to dollar, everything, And then I said to myself, yo, you know what, since I'm down right now, I'm gonna work on myself. But I didn't know how to work out. I couldn't do a pull-up at all. I got with my friend, my boy, I went to Gardner. I ended up going to Gardner. Because they gave me an option. The first option was Shirley. And at that time, Shirley had a lockdown. I think it was 2004, 2005. They had a lockdown. And I'm like, I'm not going to Shirley. They were rioting, right? I'm like, why would I want to go there? The fuck? I want good for my life. So I tried to go to Bay State. But they wouldn't classify me to Bay State. They wouldn't classify me to Norfolk, so they sent me to Gardner. And then I ended up going to Gardner, and the first day I got there, people were like, damn, this little nigga small as fuck. Like, people were taking me under their wing, like, yo, meet me in the yard tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. started
That's
working
dope,
out.
trying to show you the way,
Yeah,
'cause
different gangs too.
Nobody tried to test you because you were smaller. You were young too at the time.
Not in Gardner. I only got tested in Concord. I inherited a beef.
Okay,
And I'm gonna tell you about that one. And that one was good. So there was some dudes, right? They had drama with my peoples, right? Mm-hmm. Then when I got there, their idea was to extort me.
Okay.
You know? So I get over there. I remember one time they ended up, and I didn't know jail rules. Right. You know what I mean? All I knew is survival. Right. I didn't know no jail rules.
Self-preservation.
Nobody put me on the jail rules. All I know is I just need to survive, just get out, whatever. So one day they roll up on me. It's like 3 of them. Mm-hmm. They ran me for my sneakers. These motherfuckers, they run me for my sneakers, and at the time I'm like, all right, I ain't gonna front you. I'm a grown ass man. I was shook. Right. I was shook. I'm like, these 3 niggas, I don't know what they have on them. Mm-hmm. So now, and and people will tell you, if it was me, shut the fuck up. So now I gave it to them, right? And then now I go back into my cell. A couple of people seen it. They were furious with that shit. Furious. My man come up to me. He was like, yo, here's a shank. I'm not trying to kill these niggas.
Right, over sneakers.
I'm trying to go home. I ain't trying to kill these niggas, right? So now they told me, one of my men, he was from Framingham. He was like, this is the best move. It's called a sucker move. It's not a sucker move, but it's a sucker getting moved. That's exactly how he said it. He said, when you see them niggas, bro, I know you small. Just punch that nigga in the face, my nigga, and just hold on and just keep jabbing that nigga, okay? He told me you got 2 to 3 minutes before that shit's broken up, and you gotta do this shit. You know what I mean? Because you just got it. You can't.
Now, where did this? I've been to Concord, so I know.
It was in the J's. It was in the J's.
So it's on the unit or in the hallway?
This happened so here's how we go to trial, and then they're like, hey yo, we need $100 worth of food. Da, da, da. So I'm like, damn, these niggas trying to extort me.
Yeah.
These niggas is ill, right? They're ill. So I'm like, I bet. So I'm like, I got that for you. So we walking and everything, right? And then we get into the J's, and then the bell is about to ring. Mm-hmm. You know, when the bell rings, everybody comes out.
Yep, movement.
So now I wait for the bell to ring. So everybody comes out. Da, da, da. I go around everybody. I punch the biggest nigga in the face, right? Once I punched him in the face, I grab onto the nigga. He's like, pow, 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 pow. Hit me, man, I'm taking it. Fall on the floor. His man, I ain't gonna lie to you. Patriots need to sign his man. That nigga was the best. That nigga is a punter. My head was on it like this. That nigga came in like, boom! Nigga, I felt my head go this way and come back that way. That nigga was an ill nigga for that. Shout out to that nigga. That nigga's a punter for real. But long story short, we end up getting lugged out. We end up getting all snatched up and everything. We go to the box. The other one go to DDU, and we get shipped out and stuff like that. After the fact that shit happened, I wasn't heated. I wasn't mad because it's just part of the streets, part of the game. You know, you win some, you lose some. You're gonna
have to deal with it.
You gotta deal with it, yeah.
If you gotta deal with something, you might as well let's just deal with this now because it's the anticipation of thinking, yo, these dudes are gonna try to get. Let's just do it instead of thinking about it because you're gonna make it out to be so much in your head and
it is what it is.
Anticipation kills you more than the actual, because once it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
You know, for the most part, you know, not always. Is that why your points were so high in Concord?
Did they? Yeah, I think I got points off that. I think I got points off that. I think I got points off that. And then no matter what, I couldn't go to
because you had the open case, yeah.
And I had the open case.
So at this time was Shirley Max open? When you said they were
Shirley Medium and Max, they were rioting.
Okay.
Shirley Medium. No, I got classified to the medium, not the max though.
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Because they were rioting. Yeah. So I ended up going to Garden and stuff like that, and I'm still fighting the other case. And then I ended up going to Nashua for a week on trial for the other case. Mm-hmm. And it's my lawyer first came up to me, was like, hey, they want to give you a deal. And the deal was sweet. I'm not gonna lie, the deal was like 3 years, right? For what I got caught with and everything. And then first thing I asked him is, what's my codees doing?
Right.
And then he was like, they're going to trial. I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to trial too, you know, because it wouldn't.
And this is
good.
After you wrapped up Gardner?
While I'm at Gardner.
While you're still
While
there?
I'm still there, you know. So
right,
now I'm still going to ding for this. So now And you would think that, damn, the person that's locked up, we got to watch out for that person, you know, because that person got more to lose, you know, and stuff like that. But it wasn't like that. But now we ended up going to trial, right? We went to trial for like 4 or 5 days. Right?
Talk to me about like I never took an adult case to trial. About I copped out like that day of trial before I went upstate. But tell me about like the night before. Like, are you sleeping? What's going through your head? Because I'm sure even me not even like really knowing I'm going to the hoop, I'm kind of like, damn man, I can looking at 10 on a plea or all the going through my it was
nervous. I was mad nervous. I was nervous
about getting smoked.
Fuck yeah. But at the same time, I had faith. You know what I'm saying? I prayed a lot. I have strong faith, you know. And my prayers be crazy, you know what I'm saying? I pray like 5 different prayers and everything. Right. So I had a lot of hope. I told myself I can't go in this thinking I'm gonna lose because if I think I already lost, you know, so I have to have faith. Right. You know what I mean? And I was putting in the work. Me and my lawyer was going in, and my lawyer was just eating it up. We had 5 great One of my codees ended up dying. Rest in peace to him, C. Gunner. You know what I mean? So he was one of my codees. So that was unfortunate. Even getting that call that he passed away from when I was in there. Yeah, that was crazy. But anyway, that's another story. We ended up going to trial for 4 days, and then on the last day before the verdict, mind you, I'm stressed out the whole time, but my lawyer had a great strategy. We all came in, four of us with jackets on. He told me to take my jacket off because he wanted to single me out and make me look like the innocent, you know what I mean? And then, which worked, because on the 4th day, we just passed the motions before verdict, motion to dismiss the case. We all passed it, all 4 of us. That day, my boy Fat Boy, right? He taps me. My boy Blaze too. They tap me on my leg. They're like, "Yo, good shit." I don't know what the heck just happened. Shouts to Harold Hakella. He goes in there and he just kills it. He kills it, and they pass a motion for me first. I beat the case first. Out of all 4 of us, I beat the case on a Thursday.
Wow.
I went back upstate. I'm happy. We're cooking. Everybody's like, yo, he's actually going home in a year. I have 1 more year left. The next day's a Friday. My guys that's on the streets, they go in. They have to go through the whole verdict of guilty, not guilty. Oh, okay. So that's even more stressful on them.
Right, yeah.
So they actually do it, and they all got not guilty. And it was like the craziest shit.
You must have felt so elated, so happy, because now you know like a year, and then you're like, the hard part's behind you. Now it's all downhill from there. So what did you do with that last year? When did you start working out too?
I started working out with my boy JJ. He was down with this gang called La Familia out in Springfield.
Okay.
So it was La Familia, and it was, I think it was the Ave or something like that. Like they were up there with me. You know what I mean? I was cool with all the gangs, all the religions.
You started hitting the weights,
I hit the calisthenics and the free weights. I mean, no free weights at all, just straight calisthenics. 3-4 months straight. I didn't touch a weight at all. I had to learn me first, and it was the best. We do pull-up. We'd be in the yard 2 times a day. We do two times a day.
Nice.
And then just pull-ups, burpees. We go jogging. We did every single thing. And then after lunchtime, I had my own garden. Like we had a huge garden. We plant our own food, eat a salad, tuna, You know, it was like, I felt like I was like at a little resort in a way and just getting my shit together.
Right.
And then we started going into the weight room, getting it in 2 a days in the weight room. Now I'm getting more confident to the point where I got my own pull-up bar. So they're like, yo, that's Bishop's pull-up bar right there. So every time they already know I'm going to that pull-up bar. And it was just plotting. I'm like, yo, I'm coming out harder, stronger. You know what I'm saying? I'm even gonna switch my name up and everything. Yep. You know, I'm gonna change everything up. And when I came home, everybody was like, they're like,
stronger, smarter.
Some people that intimidates them. They look at me as, oh, this dude's like cocky or something like that, but they don't even know what a motherfucker had to go through to just get like this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, how can you not love yourself for all that stuff you went through? You know what I mean? But some people want to see you average and dormant. You know, that's just misery. at once
So
company.
did you decide to do the book thing in prison when you got out?
No, in prison I wanted to do like fashion and glasses and
Okay.
stuff like that, accessories and cater to. I wanted to come out because I know women were the biggest consumers, so I wanted to do something to cater to women. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So with the book, it was an idea. To be honest with you, my friend Marcus, Kush Groove.
Yeah.
So Marcus, shout out to Marcus for Kush Groove. He called me one day. He's like, I think it'd be good, dope if you did. He actually did a book prior to my book.
I have it.
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet, but I have it.
And he said it's a dope book actually. And he says you should do a book. And I didn't think of it like that, because at the time I was already doing like endorsement deals with products, like supplement products. I was doing like little commercials and stuff like that. He's like, you should do a book next.
Nice.
So one day I just sat home and we did the book. It took a few months. Probably wrote him like 200 pages, right? 250 pages. He shortened it down to 70 pages. The concept of the book was 777. 7 was the lucky number. $7 for the book. 7 chapters, 70 pages. So that was a whole concept. Marcus had a big influence with the kid's a genius. The kid's a marketing genius. So he really guided me throughout the book and stuff like that.
That's dope. Yeah, and shout out Kush Groove
Kush
Dispensary.
Groove, yeah.
If you're in Cambridge, Boston area, make sure you get your finest cannabis and cannabis products from Kush Groove Dispensary. They got one in West Cambridge. They're about to open one in Boston, Brockton. They're doing their thing for real.
And they got good T-shirts too.
Like all the guys, yeah. Hell yeah. Speaking of that, you was a model for one of that. Is that something?
The first time around they had it.
How'd you get into that, man? Is that something they came up to you with?
Yeah,
Is it something you always wanted to do?
No, I was doing something for another company called Force Factor.
So you already doing
Yeah. So when I came home, I was on probation and I was working for GNC, and I had an idea of when I heard 50 did Smart Water with a company that was in his neighborhood.
Vitamin Water.
Yeah, Vitamin Water. I started looking up supplement companies that were around my neighborhood. And the Force Factor was a company that was by a bunch of Harvard and MIT kids that came up with this product and was selling it out, and they had big celebrities endorsing the product. So one day I caught my boy, Alex. I told Alex, I got the keys to Bally's. We're gonna go to Bally's and shoot a video, and we're gonna shop this video. We end up going to Bally's on a Sunday around 7:30. We shot a video. Alex edited the video. And then I took the video and I looked at all the emails of different product companies and I sent it out. Bang, 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 bang. 2-3 weeks later, I get a call, an email actually from Force Factor. They say, we want to work with you. We're gonna do a 1-year endorsement with you. We want to do a couple of photos and stuff like that. So I ended up doing that with them. They did a little commercial.
Nice.
And then Kush Groove, Kush Groove saw what I was doing, and they were like, come do something with us. And then I did some stuff. They were the homies. That's the family. So
that's fire. So he went from prison to photo shoots. Supplement endorsements.
When I was a kid, I used to always want to work in those big buildings. I said, I want to work in those big buildings. I don't know what they doing.
Hancock, the Prudential.
Yeah, I don't know what I want to be corporate.
Right.
Basically corporate. And I remember people saying, you come home, you can't get a job, you can't do this, which is a lie. You can't do it because you won't do it. That's what it is.
No, you can't do it. I can do it. You know what I mean? When people tell you that, like, it's just an outward reflection of their internal state. When they say you can't do it, that's because they know they can't do it. Or they tell themselves they can't.
Exactly.
They probably can do it.
Right.
They tell themselves they can't, so they never won't. I mean, they never will.
People like that need to watch the movie Catch Me If You Can. When I came home, I watched Catch Me If You Can. That changed my life.
Okay.
Changed my life.
Interesting.
Catch Me If You Can is a movie basically, you can be whoever you want to be, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody knows. Life is like it's like a movie. You can be whatever actor you want to be. You can be whoever you want to be. That person don't know you from a hole in the wall at all. Mm-hmm. So when I watched that movie, I made up a fake resume when I came home. I put all my friends as the contacts for the managers, and I said, you know what? I'm shopping this resume around. I did these jobs. I learned about the jobs. I went on YouTube, so this is what this person does.
Right.
And I was able to secure a job in a corporate world.
So you pretty much reinvented your whole self and
talk
about transformation. So on the transformation thing, what do you think was the hardest part about transforming, making
it's
the
the mind. It's making the decision.
Want to transform yourself?
Yeah. If somebody don't have motivation, what I tell them this: book a trip 2 months from now. Book a trip 3 months from now. Just book the trip. Book it somewhere nice. Book it somewhere warm. Now, once you book that trip, you're going to start thinking like, okay, how I'm going to look? What am I going to wear? People won't do nothing in life without a motivation or a reason. They need a reason to do it. Once you start doing it, it becomes a habit, and habits are hard to break, you know? So book the trip 3 months out, start working out for it, and the next you know, after the trip, you're still working out. Right. Because that became a habit.
In this whole world, that's one of the few things that you actually have control over.
Right.
A lot of people will make excuses about it. I'm like, stop, because of everything that's out of your control on this whole planet. What you eat and deciding if you exercise or not, that's so in your control.
Humans are not ready to sacrifice. That's the thing. They don't want to sacrifice.
TV shows.
It's the
stupid stuff too. They don't want to sacrifice.
But there's no excuse. And that's why I stopped personal training when I first came home. I stopped personal training in Boston because I found a lot of people weren't as committed, you know? Like I go to Miami often, you know, and if I go to Miami and I do a personal training out there, they're more committed.
And I think it has to do with people not having like consequences, right? And it's almost like, it's not a big consequence, but there's a consequence if you go on the beach and you're out of shape. Even if it's not other people making fun, you'll feel shameful. You know what I mean? You'll feel bad about yourself. Those are real life consequences. Me having to like quit weed, I had consequences of probation, right? If I had to do it for myself and just for myself, it probably would have been tougher. But there was times I had to quit because the consequences were real. Now, obviously, that's a much realer consequence than
for sure
a little bit of shame, because some people are just shameless, I guess, and don't.
For me, it was image too. It was self-image. It's like, you know, I want to look good, and the health catches up to you because I'm about to be 40.
Right.
I'm about to be 40, and I've been through surgeries already, and certain things like I already done to prevent anything from happening because, you know, what we eat, especially how we were raised, what we eat, all this processed stuff, you know, it's just, it really does catch up to you.
So tell me about what year it was you got out. When did you get out?
So I won't ever forget, February 26, 2008.
2008.
So February 26, 2008, then I was on 7 years probation after that. I messed up a few times, but in the process of messing up, I learned when I came home, you got to make friends, certain friends, good friends in certain places.
Right.
So the judge, when I got violated, I was already friends with the judge. I already knew the judge. I was cool with the judge.
Okay.
And shout out to Judge Ball in Boston, one of the best judges ever. She's a great judge. I love her to death. She's the best
now, how
ever.
do you become friends with a judge? Talk with like somebody you just know from outside of the court system?
You meet people, then you find like you meet people in certain events and stuff like that through other people, and you ask. Then you just randomly find out what they do. Like, oh, Ron, meet my good friend right here and such and such. Like, and you're like, wow, this is what you do? So when it came down to violating me and the Boston Superior, I go in front of her, and then, I'm not even lying to you, this is so funny. She starts asking me, I swear to God, about protein and GNC products, if they work. Everybody in the courtroom starts laughing.
Wow.
And the people behind me, I don't even know these guys because they were up next. They looked at me, they were like, I appreciate you, bro. Because, you know, if she's in a good mood, they're happy. You know what I mean? It's going to look out good for them. So, and yeah, she let me go for something really crazy.
Well, that was big because that could have sent you right back, man. You know what I mean? And I had an instance, like I got out 2011, went back 2018, and it was like 90 days. Dangerousness hearing, and it was like, man, it was just kind of like a wake-up call. Like, those places ain't going nowhere. No. They're always one mistake away waiting for you, too. You know what I mean? And just, that was a real wake-up call for me.
Right now, I concentrate more on diversity and inclusion. A lot of companies been going through a diversity and inclusion plan, meaning that by 2030, they want to hire X amount of women, X amount of African American, Black individuals, and Latin individuals, because it's like a quota they have. So my job at Dell basically is to hire engineers, sales executives, software, IT folks, marketing, stuff of that nature. And what I do is I go after people of color, women in different markets just to get them hired. And I also do forecasting as well too, seeing what's happening like 6 months out from here, what's going to happen second quarter, third quarter,
And what do you do with that knowledge? Like
that knowledge helps because it detects on hiring. I get the information from, okay, how's the job, determine the job market. And not only the job market, what people are paying for like housing and stuff like that. Because I'll tell you right now, November 1st in 2 weeks, Congress is going to have a meeting in 2 weeks about raising the interest rates back up. And they're going to do it. And it's stuff like that.
Interest rates on loans?
On everything. Loans, house, everything,
House, car,
all loans, everything.
up.
So it's going to go back up. And they're going to try to cut jobs because we're already in the recession in a way, in a soft landing, but we're going to go deeply into recession. So now if they're going to cut jobs, I can't hire X amount of people now. So I have to look at that before, like if a company says that we need 300 people by the month, by Q2, which is month of May. And the way it's looking right now, we don't even have money to hire, like, you know, so I do stuff like that a lot. But my job's pretty dope. I find people. I'm like a private detective.
Okay.
As long as I know your first name and your last name.
So you're like a scout.
Yeah.
Almost to like bring it to sports. So you'd be like a scout kind of.
I can find out where you live, who your brothers and sisters are, what school you went to, what's your phone number.
Okay. Oh, so I see what you're saying.
And that's the scary part about what I do. And the person who taught me that was one of my old managers who was in the Marines. The first day he taught me, he's like, I want you to be a sniper. This is how you do it. This is what you do. This is the program you use. I don't find people, it's just scary with the information that's out there, but that's how I'm able to find these candidates.
Okay, what do you think the biggest difference is Cambridge now and Cambridge then?
I come back, when I came home in 2008, most of these kids were all grown up. I didn't even know who they were.
Right.
I only knew their parents. You know, I never knew, like, I go to Cambridge now, it's not the same Cambridge as before. I don't even feel like the same Cambridge as before. It's crazy. I come through like 3 times a year or some shit like that. I come through real quick, drive through and stuff like that. And it doesn't feel the same. I don't get the same vibe.
Okay, so when you got out in 2008, you didn't live in Cambridge?
I did. I went to the
you went back to Cambridge?
So I went to the projects. I had to live in Cambridge because of probation.
Okay.
So I went there for like 4 months. I ended up living on my own. I ended up moving to Hyde Park. Then I moved to Brighton. When I moved to Brighton, that's when it was lit. Because I was working as a personal trainer. I was working 3 jobs, you know, just grinding. Working at the club too at night. And Brighton at the time, I'm young. It's like so much bars and clubs and stuff like that. It was fun.
So you think staying busy with the 3 jobs, with doing everything, you think that was a big part of staying out of trouble since you've been out? Is just keeping yourself busy, not letting yourself get bored?
No, I got into little BS. It's growing up, man. I think I got maturity because a man, like, we still not mature between 30 to 35. I didn't know shit really until after 35.
Right.
You know, I was learning shit. I was learning stuff, but I wasn't applying nothing until after 35. And now, you know, I'm able to make better decisions in life, you know, and I have a third eye. I always say, you got to keep a third eye with you. And that's one of my best friends. And I'll call him. It's like, you know, what do you call that in the mafia?
Consigliere.
Yeah. He's like that with
the advisor.
The advisor. So I'll call him, and I'm 40 years old. I have no problem as a man, grown man, calling another man about advice. You know, because I'll call him like, yo, bro, I think I'm about to do this right here. He's like, bro, you stupid. Don't do that. I need to hear that. That's a real friend right there. And those are the type of people I keep around me. People that's gonna tell me, yeah, you should do it, or no, that's stupid.
Right,
like,
not someone that's just gonna be a yes man, and a
I
lot
can't,
of times our friends will try to not hurt our feelings, but that's the worst thing sometimes is like, yo, tell me so I can, because I might not see it, so I could recognize it and then improve it, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, all right, man, before we wrap this interview up, man, just a quick message for the youth out there.
Get into a trade, get into a job. Right now, the market is really scarce for recent college grads. So I would say get into a trade. You can never lose with a trade. You can take that trade, go anywhere in the world. Get into a trade and leave. Leave where you're at. You can only grow to a certain extent. And like it's like Cambridge to me is like a fishbowl.
Right.
You know, you can only get so bigger. The world's big, so move. Just do the impossible. Just do the impossible. Move. Do what's uncomfortable, so you can be comfortable with it. Definitely get a trade, get a job, get on the grind. don't catch any cases, and work on your credit. Work on your credit. I cannot stress that enough. Work on your credit. It's going to save you, and just save. And the thing about kids, don't get trapped into the, I gotta stunt. All that stuff's gonna come. It's gonna come. You'll have your turn. It's gonna come, but just stay on the grind. I can't stress that enough.
That's it. Stay on the grind. Don't stop, man. Yo, for real, I appreciate you for coming through.
My man,
that's my guy, Bishop, bro. Thank you for pulling up, man. This is the Bounce Back Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Lucas. It is what it is. What's next is what you make it. On that note, I'm out of here. Peace.
Cheer.
Cheer. Bounce back, ain't got a moment when they see you down the